Now to the details. The opposition NDC is accusing government of gross conflict of interest in the Japan mineral royalties deal. At a news conference a while ago, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu expressed worry the incorporation of the special purpose vehicle in an offshore enclave sends wrong signals to investors and also lacks transparency.
Government Fund Act 2018 Act 978 and its amendment, and strangely, this amendment act was yet to be assented to by President Nana Addo Dankwa as required of him under Article 106, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, my emphasis. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm holding with me here a document. It's titled Memorandum to Parliament, signed Minister Ken Oforiatta, Minister for Finance, titled Request for Approval of Transaction Agreements and Tax Exemptions Granted Thereunder in relation to the gold royalties they call a monetization transaction under the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act 2018 Act 978. For your purposes, you see his signature here. So you see his signature. And for our purposes, I read and I quote, and it should intrigue you as Ghanaians. It reads from his document, not the NDC document and not the minority document. Ken Oforiatta's document reads, and I quote, on 3rd December 2018, His Excellency the President assented to the enactment of the Mineral Income Investment Fund Act, passed certain amendments to the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act 2018 Act 978. Emphasis: the Fund Act amendments are in the process of being assented to by the President. So it means that this transaction was predicated on a law yet to be assented to become law by the President, consistent with Article 106, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the 1992 Constitution. So when the NDC in Parliament says an indecent haste, they could not even simply wait for the President to assent to the amendment to the Mineral Income Investment Fund Act, which forms the basis of this particular transaction. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, let me state emphatically that members of Parliament had just barely 4 hours to scrutinize this agreement. Yet you all heard Deputy Minister for Finance Charles Edubuahin on Joy FM News File say that it took government at least 2 years to negotiate this transaction, but required of Parliament, even in the exercise of oversight, were given just a minimum of 4 hours to conclude this transaction. The NDC minority in Parliament, as you are aware, we took a very strong position on this matter and had to stage a walkout in the national interest. One, to protest the indecent haste with which this high-stakes agreement were being rushed through the necessary parliamentary process, even without presidential assent to the Amendment Act, and also with due regard to the implications and economic ramifications on future revenue from gold.
That was a while ago at the NDC's weekly press briefing. Now, the contractor working on the over 40-year-old maternity block at the Confanotti Teaching Hospital says they may miss the deadline by 6 months. This was revealed when the Ashanti Region Minister Simon Osei-Mensah visited the project site as part of his working visit to several government projects in the region. Nanaya Ojima has more.
The completion of the maternity block is being funded with 155 million euro funds secured through the Dutch Bank, Germany, and the UK Export Finance. Government got the project back on track after a series of media reports followed by a JoyNews documentary, Next to Die, by Seth Kwame Boateng, which focused on the plight of mothers and babies in Ashanti's only referral center. Following a thorough assessment of the structure, Contractors on the project say they have identified several defects which may delay its scheduled completion. George Taras is project manager.
Pathologies regarding the situations of the concrete, the resistance of the concrete, the rusty of the steel, some elements that are not constructed as the design shows. For the solutions that we have present, there is 6 months adding to the date of the completion.
The 750-bed facility would serve as a referral center for 12 of Ghana's 16 regions, an outpatient department, obstetrics unit, 10 operating theaters, lecture halls, among others, are part of the project. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah assured contractors of government support for the project.
You go ahead and do what is right, even if that will mean you cannot work exactly within time, and there will be extension. It will be better we do it and do it well.
The minister also visited the project site for phase 2 of the redevelopment of the Kumasi Central Market project. It was learned there has been some delays due to COVID-19. Tony Yeboah Asare is architect at Avant-Garde Design, consultant for the project.
So we've done the procurement of the main steel works, the main steel structure. We've already placed an order. Immediately things improve and we are able to get the rest of the site. Construction will pick up as quickly as possible.
The Kumasi Airport project was his next stop. The project, being undertaken by contractor Construction UK, was found to be progressing in earnest. Nana Ametepe is project consultant.
Challenges have been the COVID because most of the products are offshore items which have been affected by productions in Europe. So, but the contractor has managed to do other works because apart from the terminal building, there are some ancillary works which are car parks and the new access road. And the contractor has managed to expedite works on that. And also on the aprons, as you see. Those are all critical that could also be affected by rainfall.
The regional minister also inspected some roads under the 100-kilometer road project in Kumasi. Authorities say contractors are now in 4 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies across the city. Urban Roads Director Kumasi, Nana Atapokwajman, says primer sealing has been done on most of the roads, awaiting first and second sealing.
Please that when these roads are constructed and handed over to the client, we should all ensure that washing of cars on the roads, changing of oils by mechanics, and even parking heavy axle load. I mean, every road is designed against a load bearing capacity. So if you bring a load that is more than the anticipated load bearing, it cannot withstand, and that can cause a lot of defects on our roads.
For JoyNews, Nana Eljima reporting.
Now, joining us via the phone is consultant for the contractor working on that maternity block you saw earlier in that story, Mr. Emmanuel Danso. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Could you please tell us a bit more about the nature of the structural defects that have been identified on the project?
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, your cherished listeners and viewers too. In fact, we took full possession of the site not quite a long time, but let's say about 3 months ago, that we have full possession of the site. And we have a quality control team working with us, contractors, as part of our department. And so we did some integrity tests as to how strength and how strong the building is. We did one that we exposed the foundation to see how it is. We've done that. And we exposed the columns and the beams. The third one is that we were also exposed of the slabs. And then the fourth one is exposed of the rebars in beams and slabs. What am I saying? All what I'm saying is that just because so the building has been there for about 42 years. And there have been some contractors working on it for some time now. So before contractor comes in and move forward, we need to do quality tests in order for us to know the strength and the capacity, how far the building can stand or can withstand with all the materials and other stuff that we have to do.
All right.
And so the quality test is ongoing.
Okay.
And yes, and I can assure you that we'll come out with a good report and then submit to the ministry. But there's no delay, as the project director said. He's given us additional 6 months in order to work out.
All right.
To bring a good report.
And Mr. Danso, will dealing with the structural defects require additional costs? And do you have an estimate to that?
For now, I will say no, because there haven't been any cost that we have to fix it. I think the whole detailed report will come up and then submit to the ministry. If there's any need to add any additional cost, that will be a secondary matter, and it also comes with approval from the ministry. But for now, there is no cost to fix on the project.
All right, thank you very much for your time. That's Emmanuel Danso. He's consultant to the contractor working on that maternity project, which is over 40 years old. You're watching JoyNews today with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. We'll be taking you shortly to the Kotoka International Airport, which was opened to international flights today. But before that, residents of the big town of Busia in the western region are hailing government's decision to reopen the airport. The small town, which is a hotbed for tourists, mainly from America and Europe, has had its local economy badly hit since airport closures in March. Here's JoyNews' Justice Bedu again.
Felix Bentum is not sure what the future holds now. He had built a company that used to connect tourists who wanted to volunteer in Ghana. In under 5 years, he had brought over 500 people from all over the world to work and holiday in the beach town of Busia, where he has lived all his life.
I had to send back all the volunteers I had from the UK in March because as at when the virus was starting to rise, the parents and the families of the volunteers were a bit like paranoid, and then everyone was calling, and so I had to send them back home. I had about 120 bookings for this year, only in the UK. So like it was going to be a very like big boost for the project and then the program as well, and it's also going to boost the economy of the village as well.
Depending on where you are or what you do, you will feel the impact of COVID-19 differently. But this small town, one that largely survives on the thousands of tourists who come here every day, was brutally hit when borders were shut.
It's a bit of tragedy because nobody's coming and...
Kangaroo Pouch, run by middle-aged Ya Echa, has not had any guests for 3 months now. It employs 10 full-time staff and is one of over 15 guest houses in this small town. Half of that number have folded up in the last 3 months alone.
Nobody's coming, and I got the workers, I have to pay them, but because of the situation, I can't sack them, and also, like I'm just keeping them. And as you've seen all the place, nobody is here, so quiet and been very, very sad. Like, nobody knows when is this going to get to the end.
I'm afraid I'm going to see that increment, even if it gets better in a few months, it's going to be like reduced because of the virus.
For the villagers of Busia, it's a daily struggle of counting down the clock until borders open again. And for the tourists who have for years held its local economy up to come back. Justice Bedu, JoyNews, Busia.
While commercial international flights are yet to begin arriving at the Kotoka International Airport after President Akufo-Addo announced the resumption of international flights, for now though, it's just domestic evacuation and chartered flights that have arrived. Maxwell Agbaba has more.
Here at the Kotoka International Airport, specifically at the KIA Terminal 3 arrival, not much of activity is happening here as many would have expected after the reopening. of Ghana's borders to international flights. If you come here, you find workers busily going about their normal activities. Domestic flights, as we already know, are still operating, but international commercial flights have not started coming in yet. Information we're picking up from authorities here indicates that the international commercial flights would have to send their schedules to the Ghana Airport Company Limited. Other procedures would also have to be followed, and even for the passengers, it will take some time for them to start booking their flights and also getting their PCR tests, negative PCR tests ready before the full resumption of international commercial flights here at the Kotoka International Airport. Information that we have, however, suggests that chartered flights and evacuation flights are actually arriving and departing from the Terminal 3 of the Kotoka International Airport. What we do not have operating is the commercial, international flights. If you come here to the Kotoka International Airport, all efforts have been put in place to ensure that there's respect for COVID-19 safety protocols. The seats here at this place at the arrival actually have information suggestive that you need to respect the social distancing protocol. So for the chairs, you cannot sit in close proximity to the next person. You cannot sit in proximity to the next person sitting by you. Logistics have been deployed here at the Kotoka International Airport to ensure that persons who are coming in who may have COVID-19 could be detected, and when they are detected, there's a management team here that's supposed to handle cases like that. But persons who are coming in would have to show proof of their negative PCR test, and we are told that for flights that do not ensure that passengers have their negative PCR test, they will be sanctioned. So for all passengers who are coming to Ghana, they need to show proof of their negative PCR test from their countries of origin.
You're watching JoyNews today with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. Well, just gone by earlier in the bulletin, we brought you the NDC minorities' concerns about the Japan mineral royalty deals. But coming up shortly in business, Ghana Airports Company loses in excess of 500 million cedis during period of airport closure. Do stay for details of that story in a moment.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Aviation Minister Kofi Adda says the Ghana Airports Company made a loss in excess of 500 million cedis following the closure of the country's airport. Speaking with Evans Mensah on PM Express, he expressed gratitude to the company for not laying off any staff despite the negative impact.
We've shut the airport since March.
Correct.
That is huge. That will leave a huge revenue hole in your pocket, but invariably that's my pocket as well, because of course this is a huge revenue. We took a loan to build and expand.
Yes.
How much of a hole is there since March?
Oh, it's been a big hole. It's been over 500 million cedis that we've experienced.
500 million cedis?
Yes, yes.
Over the period since March?
Yes.
That we've lost?
Yes. It's a lot. It's been a lot. We counted all the passengers who would have paid their air passenger service charge. We counted all the aircraft that would have paid for the landing fees and overflight fees and things like that. So all that has accumulated to quite a significant amount of money.
How much of an impact is that going to have on your operations going forward?
Well, it's already had on our operations. We've been constrained in so many ways. All the administrative expenses and the operational revenue that we needed to be able to pay for those costs. We've gone without that. We've had to stagger the way that workers come to work, except when we get emergency flights. Really don't bring all of them on board. So it's been quite a hefty hit on us. But I must say that the two agencies, Civil Aviation and Airport Company, have done quite well, not laying anybody off. They maintain them, the salaries that they've been earning. We thank the government for having come up for the support. It's a bailout that was arranged by the Minister of Finance through CBG, and that's what they asked us to try and keep us going. Indeed, we hope that, but we thought we'd go through this problem towards the end of the year. But as we know now, we're hoping by end of September we'll see some revenue coming in good numbers.
I need to ask this, was this whole a factor in reopening?
I'm not sure I understand you.
Because you are bleeding cash. I'm just wondering whether in making the decision to reopen,
we're compelled.
Yes.
Because no. The health and the protocols and how ready we are to contain the virus.
Thank you for staying with us here on Joy News today. Let's go to sport now. And industry operatives within football are currently at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram for the 26th GFA Ordinary Congress. Now, the meeting is taking place amid court issues surrounding it. Quite a number of decisions have been taken. And Joy Sports' Muftau Nabila Abdullahi is our man on the ground, and he joins us on the phone for more. Muftau, thank you very much. Can you bring us up to speed on, the latest happenings on the ground, for starters?
Congress just concluded, and the members of Congress have approved nearly every single agenda that was brought before them by the Executive Council. Starting off from the expenditure, we had reported earlier saying that the GFA had about 40 million Ghana cedis to spend. That was unanimously approved by Congress. And the new financial year budget of 71 million Ghana cedis was also approved by Congress. The allowances to be given to the GFA president and his Executive Council members, 12,000 Ghana cedis, 7,000 Ghana cedis for the vice president, and 4,000 Ghana cedis for each member of the Executive Council. All these figures were unanimously approved by members of Congress. And what it means is that this leadership of the Ghana Football Association would not be given ex gratia any longer. We all know that previously there was a practice of paying each member of the Executive Council $15,000 after their 4-year tenure as part of the leadership of the Ghana Football Association. But at this point, Congress have decided that they wouldn't be giving any ex gratia anymore. So these were some of the things that were discussed and approved by members of Congress. The auditing firm that we had also earlier reported that the Executive Council were proposing to Congress to accept, which is Betty Tiller and Anda, have also been approved by Congress, and they will be the auditors of the Ghana Football Association for the next 3 years.
Now, just before you go, Muftau, can you just quickly tell us if Wilfred Osei Kweku Palmer was at the Congress?
I didn't see Wilfred Osei Kweku Palmer around. I don't know why he was not around, but going through the members of Congress assembled here, I didn't see him around.